Grab Life by the Goals is the podcast for passionate badasses to get inspired, activate their potential, and crush their goals. In a nutshell, we do big shit around here. Whether you're looking to disrupt your career, start or grow a business, or simply have a more kick-ass life, you're in the right place. Come to be inspired, find your swagger, dream bigger, and take actual steps to level up your life. All with a side of real talk and raunchy humor. I'm your host, Lauren Widrick. I'm a life and business coach, and I'm right here on the roller coaster with you. Are you ready? Let's do this. What's up, my badasses? Welcome back to this week's episode of the Grab Life by the Goals podcast. We have the GOAT on the line here, literally one of the baddest bitches I know when it comes to speaking, getting paid to speak, and having an international presence in the speaking world. It's Precious L. Williams. Precious, thank you so much for being here today.
Girl, I'm honored to be here, Queen. I'm honored.
Even just the pre-recording, I'm so pumped up. There's so much I want to ask you. So I know the audience is dying to know how you got to this level as a speaker, a pitch master in the media, a best-selling author, and all of that stuff. So let me actually run down Precious's list of accomplishments. I was putting it together before the podcast and was like, who is this woman? Oh my God. Okay. So Precious is an international speaker. She has spoken at some companies you may have heard of, like Google, Microsoft, LinkedIn, just to name a few. If you look at her website, there's like 80 more listed. She's a 13-time national pitch champion. Amazing. She's been featured on Shark Tank. Can you find that on the internet, Precious? Is it still out there?
Queen, you can't find it anymore, but we'll talk about that.
I was about to say, go look it up, but that's a whole story, I bet. Okay. So she's been on Shark Tank. She's also been all over every media outlet you can imagine: CNN, MSNBC, Forbes, and the rest. She is this is new update, 4-time best-selling author. 4 times.
Fantastic, folks. Let's get it.
Unreal. And one of her favorite book titles of mine is Bad Bitches and Power Pitches.
But women,
you guys are going to know why I love
speakers only. Yes.
And she teaches people like me and you listening how to become successful speakers ourselves. She has programs, events, boot camps, all of it. So if you want to become a speaker, Precious is your woman. And I know from experience because I'm a client of hers. So I took a day-long workshop with Precious. It was me and a group of other badass women. And we were all shook. Like, we had the tips and tools of what to do, but we also felt empowered and pumped. And that's part of your secret sauce, Precious. So did I miss anything on your resume?
No, I mean, there's a lot more, but at the end of the day, it's a bio. Like, I'm more than a resume. I'm more than a CV. There's so much more to me. And, in order to become a great speaker, like I really want you all to know you have to have failures and you have to have made mistakes, right? Because what I see on social media is everybody's perfect. Everybody's, have always lived a good life. Well, I'm from the inner city of St. Louis, Missouri, but I'm also from the Show Me State, Missouri. So I grew up with parents who really didn't want me, was nearly beaten to death by my mother on November 18th, 1991. If it wasn't for my grandparents coming to get me at 15 years old, I wouldn't be here today. When I went into my grandparents' home, I never had to worry about food, never had to worry about love, never had to worry about shelter. They really took care of me. And I'm named after my grandmother, Precious Dolores Williams. And when I was 15 years old, I remember her sitting me down and saying, you have the gift of speech. Now, mind you, my grandmother had an 8th grade education. 8th grade.
Wow.
But she noticed that when I spoke, people listened. Now, mind you, I'm 15 years old. When I was 16 years old, the principal of my high school, Mr. Floyd Cruz, came to me and said, hey, we want you to speak at an event. He ain't telling me it was before the mayor of the city of St. Louis and other, big time politicians.
Oh my gosh.
But my English teacher is either Miss Ruth Hill or Miss Addie B. Jackson, who wrote my speech. Didn't practice it. Come on, you're 16. Do you really think about those things? Well, right before I went on stage, I looked and I just delivered what was on. Like, it was so weird. It's like I knew how to speak. Mm-hmm. And I got a standing ovation. And Mayor Freeman Bosley Jr. was so blown by me. He invited me to be on the St. Louis Public Schools Task Force. And they introduced me to the governor of Missouri. So my second speaking engagement was for the governor of Missouri. Think about that. So I feel like
And you're a teenager, right?
I'm a teenager. I feel like I've had Barack Obama moments, President Barack Obama moments way before, but I didn't realize I had a gift and a talent. I went on to, I was the first high school graduate in our family. I had a full scholarship to Spelman College. In fact, I won so many scholarships because my grandparents just did not have the money. They were retired and would have preferred for me to stay in St. Louis, Missouri. But for me, I was like, I saw it on Oprah. We're going to where those four beautiful, articulate, poised women. I want to be like that. Attended Spelman College, graduated in 4 years. I am the first recipient of the Bill and Melinda Gates Scholarship that I got in my last year of Spelman College as a senior. Then I, was accepted into many law schools, but the one I attended was Georgetown University Law Center in 2001, which we all know what happened in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely went through a lot of things while I was there. I forgot who I was, and I allowed people whose parents were big time politicians or make me feel like because I didn't come from that, I was not worthy. It's funny, at 43, I really want to shake Precious L. Williams and be like, but you were still there and you didn't have any of that. See, the perspective changed. I didn't realize that. And so I was depressed. But then I got a full scholarship to Rutgers School of Law in Newark, New Jersey. So attended again, had a nervous breakdown in 2004, was in a psych ward of Newark Beth Israel Hospital for 3 months. And then I came back to law school with a vengeance. Now, there are those of us who say take it day by day. No, I have to take it moment by moment. And before I looked up, I was in my last semester. And I wanted to challenge myself. So I became a student attorney in the Urban Legal Clinic. And I won every case I had. In fact, it's like I came to life in my last semester.
Wow.
So I was the number one student attorney in my class, finished on December 15th, 2006, took the February 2007 bar, passed the New York State bar on my first try. Yes, I'm Black on both sides. Y'all know y'all can see I'm Black on both sides. They better.
Yes.
And then I practiced as an attorney. I worked at Sullivan and Cromwell. I clerked for a federal judge in the Southern District. And we all know how prestigious that is with a 2.9 GPA. Yeah, I said it because it's years later, right? I said it. But when you have the gift of speech, it's amazing what you're able to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I was bored. I said, I don't want to do this. You know how when you just don't want to do something? Like, I built up being an attorney. I want to be better than Johnny Cochran. What I didn't realize is that does take time, given, but also I was in medical malpractice, products liability, toxic torts. Like, come on, really? No. So I wound up leaving my ex-fiance, who was a wonderful person, but in the end, I elected to leave rather than stay in a situation that was untenable, and did not realize that in making that decision, the second step of my journey started. I met a very famous Hollywood actor by putting an ad on a dating website. Please don't ask me what it is because it makes me look bad. Because I know what it looks like today, but it was really, it probably was bad back then. But I met a very famous Hollywood actor with my ad. It had Two to Tango. It was a poem. And I was 327 pounds. But when we met, it was, oh my goodness, it was amazing. And I was a big girl. You would never think a man like that would look at me. Well, let me tell you, he flew me out with Instagram thought. He had me on sets. He had me, like, I couldn't believe I was living that big girl dream.
Mm-hmm.
But what it also inspired in me was to start a company called Curvy Girls Lingerie. Now, to be honest with each and every one of you, I had no business experience. I came from law school, but I thought I could do it. And thank God that I spoke and I asked or whatever. I didn't have a family and friends around because no one believed in me. And so it took me pitching to the producers of MSNBC at the Small Business Awards in New York City for me to get one on national. My first pitch got me on national television. My second pitch on Your Business with JJ Ramberg. In 54 seconds, I walked away with $500,000. Think about that. No one ever believed that I could do it.
My mind is blown.
It's like amazing. But they told me to enter pitch competitions. Now, listen, no one taught me, but out of 14 tries, I won 13 times, right? And that's why they call me the killer pitch master, because I slay all competition. That's when I learned that I'm a master of all forms of pitching, whether it's the elevator pitch, the media pitch, the investor pitch, the sales pitch, the speaker pitch, because I know y'all don't want to speak for free. Book busy and paid. Okay, to booked and blissful. And then the interview pitch. And so then I started Perfect Pitches by Precious, which is my second company. I'm so proud of it. And so, I started teaching women how to win pitch competitions. And then I also started to see where else I was needed. That's what happens with companies. You start one way, and then you're like, well, wait, if I'm the killer pitch master, I don't specialize in one because my clients have had success. 7 of my clients have successfully appeared on Shark Tank and been invested in. Let me say it again. And been invested in. I appeared on Shark Tank season 8 in 2016. My clients have had #1 best-selling books. They've gotten corporate training contracts, and they're what? Social workers. Yeah, I said it, because it's all about positioning and packaging. And as much as I am the killer pitch master, I'm going to hear things that you're not going to hear about yourself. I'm going to see things about you that you just never paid attention to. So often when people pitch themselves, they have this idea of what people want to hear. But thank God I've been speaking since I was 16. So I hear things that people, like, for example, if you and I are talking, there are going to be words that come to me as you're talking that's going to tell me how you really feel, or what your fears and your worries and your doubts are. And my job is to show you, listen, the things you think make you pop. Oh, I was on a yacht with such and such. I want you to be the celebrity. I don't care who you're taking pictures with. I've taken pictures with celebrities, but I've never forgotten I'm the killer pitch master. My job and your jobs are to stand out. So if you think just by hanging with these people, that's great. No. You need to stand out from even them. The reason why I'm the killer pitch master is because people will lump speakers into motivational speakers. I am not. I'm not an inspirational, transformational, or motivational speaker. I'm the killer pitch master. So when people look for motivational speakers, they will go to the tried and true. But when they want to know how to pitch products and services or new ideas, who do they come to? Getting into corporate America, you can't just say, oh, I'm going to be a sales trainer, I'm going to be this. No. You have to demonstrate that you have a knowledge of something that they don't think you have a knowledge of. So you can say, oh, I'm a sales trainer, but I knew getting into big tech, the problem is they have big brains, big words, and they can't break it down to layman's terms. So a lot of them have to sell without selling, but still selling. So you're selling to your superiors. You're getting the budget for this to be able to do that. But the ultimate end user is the customer. So you're not truly selling to them until you can sell it to your higher ups to get them to buy into what it is that you do. That's a specialty that most people don't have. Yeah, I can tell you, oh, pitch like this, but I have to hear feedback. I have to see it. And so I pride myself of being the best there is, the best there was, the best I'll ever be. Bret Hitman Hart, WWF, WWE. Do you hear me though? And so my story of how I got here is I kept going when people told me it was impossible. When the love of my life died, that actor, I lost my mind, y'all. I mean, I still think about this man today, but my grief was so overwhelming that I just drank until I drank myself into homelessness. Tried to take my life on my 38th birthday. As y'all heard, I'm 43. So God was smoking off the fat lady, like, okay. And so I'm here today because I walked out of homelessness on September 1st, 2018. And we are now in 2022. So when people said it was over for me, I'd never grace a stage. You heard our queen talk about Google, LinkedIn, and Microsoft. Well, I'm a 2-time TED speaker, TED talker, or whatever you want to call it. I fly all over the world to speak, to teach, and to train. I don't consider myself a coach. I am a trainer. I want you to have skills that last you a lifetime, whether I'm here or not. I teach people how to position themselves, but how to package themselves so that they are attractive. Your social media posts are pitches. What you're putting in your proposals, those are pitches. Who's speaking up for you? Who's pitching you for profit? And so that's why I wrote books about Bad Bitches and Power Pitches. My first book was all about the psychology of pitching, right? Not just prompts. Now, when you understand the 7 branding personas, then you can move into different prompts for different types of audiences you may find yourself in front of. And then in my third book, Pitching for Profit, The Bad Bitches Playbook to Convert Conversations into Currency, that book was getting your network together. So you have to build and rebuild your network. A lot of us are around the wrong people who are comfortable with we all doing the same thing. No, I ain't doing the same thing. If you're doing what you was doing last year, I can't mess with you. I'm on an elevation mode. And so you need to build and rebuild your network and get them to pitch you in spaces you didn't even know existed. One of the only reasons that I'm where I am is because I knew strategy, and you need to know certain people to vouch for you, to crack the door open so you can kick it in. And so that's my story. I'm a proud 43-year-old woman. Every time you see me, my hair is different. Am I right, Queen? It could be
That's
blue
true.
tomorrow.
That's 100% true.
And I go into companies, corporations, foundations, nonprofits as a keynote speaker, as a corporate trainer. And I love what I do, but no one has ever said to me, Precious, we'd like for your hair to be straight and black. We'd like for you to wear pearls. No one's ever said that, because my brand is about celebrating your differences. It's about, listen, I don't have a Brazilian butt lift. I don't have six-pack abs. And I appreciate that. Let me be clear. I appreciate it. But at 43, I'm going to come up and wipe up the floor. I promise you I'll wipe up the floor. But you do look good, though. You met Beyonce, meet Beyonce. I'm not a background figure. I stand at attention and I walk in with power and boldness. So that's me in a nutshell. And that's my story. And I'm sticking to it.
It's electric. Like every bit of your background, I forgot you were a lawyer. Like all of these things keep coming out. Like I forget how much you've done for your clients and for yourself and for these companies. And so here's my question. I am sitting here like getting so much confidence from you. You're making me feel confident about myself. And I'm like, Precious can do it. She went through some shit. Like Precious went through it and she still got back up and did it. I can do it too. So what about the people out there that are feeling that nudge? And they're like, I want to be a speaker too, but I don't have the swagger that Precious has. Like, I don't feel as confident as she is. Like how, if somebody feels the call, how do they know that they're meant to speak or meant for the stage? Like you knew.
Well, can we keep it above? I didn't start off like this. When I started speaking at 16, I'm sure I was great for a 16-year-old. I'm sure it was great, but it took me years to be comfortable with my own personality and what makes me me. So the Precious you're seeing today, you wouldn't have seen that in my early 30s. Listen, I thought I had to fit into what everybody else was doing. And also because I'm a Black woman, there are respectability politics that are often placed on us to be and to be better and to be and to fall in formation, but also be in the background. And after I came back from nearly taking my life, and thank God I have a second chance, there are a few things that I kept hearing. You need to be you. You need to give it to them raw. We live in a world that likes to sanitize and make entrepreneurship sound like it's easy all day, every day. So when people start, they think, oh, I need to be like you. You're seeing me after 27 years of getting it together. If you feel called, what I suggest that you do is start writing down some of the topics that you would love to be able to speak about. Figure out what type of speaker are you. And again, this takes time. How long did it take me to learn I was a killer pitch master? How long? I didn't feel comfortable until I won the Black Enterprise National Elevator Pitch Competition on May 16, 2013. That was almost 10 years ago. So I had swag back then, but now I'm dripping in swag goo now. So it's a process. It's a process. And so whenever you meet these great speakers, don't compare year 27 to your year one. You do not know what I was like at 16 or, when I just thought it was just something to do. It's my profession. It's my craft. I invest in it. And so think about the topics that you would love to speak about. Could you do it for 30 minutes or 15 minutes? What are some of the things that you want to enlighten people on? Here's another tip. If you find yourself regurgitating what gurus are saying, good luck. Good luck. Yeah. Because people need your unique take on it. When I wrote the book, Bad Bitches and Power Pitches, of course, there was a lot of pushback. And it took me 3 years to be comfortable with, like, that's the title. And with so many people saying that it would never work, can I tell you, when it debuted at number one, and I never saw it coming. I thought 2 people would buy. And then when it kept being bought, it stayed at number one. It wasn't for an hour. It just kept going. And then when I was brought in to speak, I would include that as part of my package if I could. Like, you need to buy a certain number of books. So then I'm selling in bulk. But remember, they're buying from me, not Amazon now. So they can't be counted with the New York Times and stuff like that. But here's the thing. I got the money on the front end and the back end. I got it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you did.
So in addition to, and so the things that we hear in the world, people who have been in entrepreneurship for a long time will tell you things that you can't compete with. Like, I would love to be a New York Times bestseller. Let me tell you something. There are a lot of New York Times bestsellers out here who've never been counted in the New York Times. There are people who sold their books out of the trunks of cars. They can't count it, right? But my website counts it, but they would never believe it, right?
Yeah.
But those companies, Google, LinkedIn, Microsoft, Federal Reserve Bank, Intuit, QuickBooks, Yelp, all the places that I speak at, they bought it. So I made the money off of it, not just the residual checks that come in 3 months later from Amazon. So if I hadn't gone through this, I would think what everybody else would think. They also say as speakers, you shouldn't ask for pay. Well, I've been doing this 27 years. I expect people to ask me what my rates are. I expect that, because to assume that you can just get anybody for $0 is weird to me if you know they've been at this for a long time.
Right.
And so you've got to put a price. Now, if you're new and starting, I understand. Like, get your Queen, you know what I'm saying? You have to get your experience up, because if you want to come out just speaking, I'm not saying you can't get paid, but I need you to over deliver. And if you've never done it, then you can't over deliver, because you don't even know what you're delivering. Right.
Yeah. So, as the quality improves and you can slay that talk.
Right.
And so your people are getting results, you can begin to charge more. I assume. Okay.
And then the great thing about, Lauren was actually, I actually taught Lauren and these other great speakers. And mind you, I'm sure Lauren has heard a lot of great speakers. They probably get the same information. What I take pride in is what I teach, most people do not know, because they keep hearing the same things and they think they're going to come to me and I'm going to say the same things. I'm not. No. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. And the reason why I only work with a select group of people is because, you could work with millions of people, but most of them cannot get results, because after the motivation is over and you're not there, what then are they going to do? So if you think that you need someone to always be with you in entrepreneurship, that's great. Or as a speaker, I still need you at some point to wean yourself off the bottle or the breast. Yep. And know that you can do it. But you have to get that great instruction, and you have to get it from people who actually are still in the trenches, not someone looking on high and they haven't done it in 20 years.
Okay, let me synthesize what you said. I'm literally taking notes for myself because I'm in the midst of, or on the precipice, I should say, of launching a actual speaking arm of my business. So where to start is come up with your topics that you're passionate to speak about. Mm-hmm. Understand why make them different. Don't be like dime a dozen. Get out there and start speaking, and knowing you're not going to be precious on day one. Right. But get out there, suck, get better, keep going, figure out what works, raise your prices as you go. Am I getting this right? These are my personal.
No. And this is great. Right. Yeah. Because and to go back to when you're talking about the topics, right? I actually want you to write on the actual topics that you want to speak about, right? So once you know the topics, write down some of your key observations or your thoughts on them. I also want you to do this research of seeing, are other people saying the same things? If they are, there's no need to book you. There's no need. Yeah. That's why I want you to think about your unique take. The reason why Bad Bitches and Power Pitches resonates is because some people clutching pearls, I would never. Do you know why they bought it? Because they had a fear of missing out. They're like, if all these companies are buying it, it must be good. You don't say. It couldn't be because I have a billboard in Times Square that your homie didn't pay for. It could be because it was reviewed. Two out of three of my books were reviewed by Forbes magazine. I don't know about y'all, but when's the last time that Forbes magazine reviewed a business book by a Black author that wasn't an entertainer or sports figure? I am not. So wow. I'm doing it in business because I want to share with you that, yes, you can look at all the TikTokers. Yes, you can look at all these people who are big on social media. Not only can I talk about it, but I've been in your shoes. So 14 times I pitched, 13 times I came out as champion, right? Not only that, if my clients are having success, then you can impute that to me, but also understand that they understood their assignment. They're not here to sound like everybody else. If a social worker can go to having a corporate training contract at one of the top gaming companies in the world, she's a social worker. How are we able to do that? It's because I can hear and see things differently than most people will about what people can come in and do, right? Mm-hmm. And so think about that. And also, Queen, remember we talked about this. You want to create topics that pay and slay. So once you think about the topics, you're writing on it, seeing, you're researching what's going on in the industry. Remember, your topics have to pay and slay. So if you want to come up with how to win friends and influence people, that's a great title, right? It was a great title way, way, way back then. But also, I want you to throw some sizzle on it, right? So with the things that I do pitch, please. I said pitch, P-I-T-C-H.
Yep, I love pitch, please.
pitch please, or life's a pitch, you know what I'm saying? So think about ways to step it up, right? And so, my fourth book is called The Pitch Queen, a woman's journey from poverty to purpose and profits, right? The Pitch Queen. Now, I'm already the killer pitch master, but if you ever see, when you see the actual book cover, I'm sitting on a throne with a crown, like, come get it.
Oh my God.
Come get this.
As you should.
Right.
You are the queen.
And it's not like flexing, but it's also like, what was his name? T.I. had a song when I think it was in college. It was called You Don't Know Me. So when people want to box me into, I'm just a killer pitch master. No, I am a communication skills expert. I'm a 4-time #1 bestselling author. I am that chick, right? So there's more to me than that. If I'm a corporate trainer for the biggest tech companies and financial services companies. In fact, in January, I spoke before 10,000 professional photographers in DC. The reason why this is a big deal to me, because 20 years ago, I got kicked out of Georgetown University Law Center on March 15th, 2002. Wow. In January 2022, 20 years later, here I am in DC giving them the business. Then I got invited back to speak at this new app that was debuting called Barter Black. And then in May, I'm brought back again to another organization, the Howard County Chamber of Commerce. On May 17th, I am the afternoon keynote. Why is all of this important? Because I'm being paid to do what I do best. So they invite me to keynote, and at this level, I'm not a workshop speaker. There's certain things I don't do anymore because I'm not there anymore. I'm not proving myself. And see, that's the thing that I want others to know. You might want to go for keynote in the beginning. I'm telling you, learn your craft first and work on some of the things that we were just talking about. And that's why I teach different levels to speaking, because it's not all one level. You would never bring in a Les Brown. Oh, he's going to teach a workshop. Oh, really? That's what he's going to do? Mm-hmm. Okay. And I don't subscribe to everyone. Everything has to be free. Like, oh, I need a free webinar to lead you in. Those aren't those type of clients I want anyway. I'm letting you all know. Those aren't the type of clients I want. If I want you to get paid, if I want you to understand your assignment, there's an investment required. It's not just financial. You really want to learn? I'm not going to give you nothing in like little free things. I want to give you more and over deliver.
Yeah.
And sometimes you may think you can go to all these free things. Needle is not moving, not just because you didn't pay, but also you're not given enough to even start the process. Am I right? That's how I feel. And again,
absolutely.
I'm a rebel. I'm a badass. I just don't subscribe to the things that people say, oh, that's going to work. I'm like, then why are people still struggling 5-10 years later and they've been working with the same people? It's because they're getting the same information and they haven't either executed on it or you pay for the name.
Well, you pay for your 27 years of expertise, right? So like it took you 27 years. I'm guaranteeing your clients are getting there faster because they're getting the benefit of your ear on their pitch.
Yes. Not just their pitch, but also, again, social media is so big. So listen, people tell you, oh, I need to be on this, and the other. LinkedIn is where the bulk of my speaking opportunities come from. Why? Because they're reading my timeline on a daily. What is she talking about? Where's she speaking at? Oh, is that like I do behind the scenes? You know that. Like I'll be behind the scenes. Oh man, LinkedIn, yo, we about to do this, da 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 da. Or when I was at TEDx Babson this past weekend, what was so mind blowing is I was brought in for a specific purpose to kill it before intermission to bring others back, so they can watch the other speakers. So thinking about that, if you want to be perceived as a strong speaker, you want to either start or finish or be in that prime position, right? And so how long did it take me to know that I can kick it off or I should end? How long did it take me to realize that? It took organizations telling me, we bring you in. You either got to set it off or you got to kill the end. Do you know how flattering that was to me? I didn't even notice that about myself. So I come in like a wrecking ball. I'm not going to say what everybody else is going to say. I remember I was speaking for Dress for Success conference that just happened. And I was listening to the woman who was speaking before me. And I realized we had some similar things. And I was like, I can't follow that. I don't want nobody thinking I'm biting. So I changed my whole speech in my mind right before I went on.
Wow.
And I changed it to owning the good, the bad, and the ugly of you.
Uh-huh.
And then
you could do that on the fly?
Off the dome. Mind you, I didn't have notes, but I remember, my two queens, the executive director, and, they just rolled with it. They just rolled with it because, and honestly, it was all coming to me. It's like, listen, my higher power has blessed me with a gift and a talent. And for 27 years, I should be able to pull from all points of my life to show them what it looks like to own the good, the bad, and the ugly. You got too many people out here who will throw your past in your face, but don't want you to throw theirs in there. Baby, I own all that I've ever done. I own every mistake, every failure. I own it. I own being homeless. I own that I used to be a severe alcoholic. I own that I made a lot of mistakes. That's why when I wrote The Pitch Queen, it is self-help and not so much about my pitching, but how did I really get here? So it's not just a memoir. Like, I want to share with you the things that were supposed to bury me. The people who buried me didn't see me rising like the phoenix. And I'm going to show you why, because I can't let anybody throw my past in my face and I got to run. No, bring the skeletons out the closet, bring them out, because that helps other women and men. You done made mistakes, people that threw dirt on your name. Like Cardi B said, knock me down 9 times, but I get up 10. Mm-hmm. You just coming off the bench. And I'm coming off the court fully drenched. I'm telling you don't want the Chun-Li, Nicki Minaj. You don't want the Chun-Li. I'm about to get it.
God, I love you. You have this blend of like swagger and vulnerability. Like, you're truly one of the most confident people I've ever met. And you're willing to tell stories of alcoholism, near death, heartbreak, everything that you went through. And it's all you. You're a complex, multi-layered person, just like everybody who wants to be a speaker.
Everybody is.
All of it is relevant. Like, you can speak about all of it.
I can. And just so we're clear, people only learn the backstory after I come with power. Mm-hmm. If people come with what we would deem a sob story, they're still in it, which means they haven't transcended, right? So when I'm speaking, my pitch to corporations is very different from like for Keynote or for any of the things that I do. So every pitch has to be different audiences. How I pitch to big tech is different from how we pitch to big finance companies and stuff like that, right? So even understanding that, what would they like to know the most? However, as a great speaker, I don't start with where my story began. I'm start from where we are right now, and I'll take you back, because that'll impress you more than I was beaten up by my mother. I was never good. Like, that's not how you enter boldly. And then, every time you see me, I got to have a different hairstyle, because I want people to know I changed my hair like I changed my underwear. It's an everyday thing.
You really do. You've had so many amazing hairstyles. And today she came on with these beautiful blonde braids. Yeah. It looks incredible. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, that's part of your signature. I mean, you have a very strong brand. She mentioned her post on LinkedIn. If you're not following Precious, go follow her immediately, because it will just brighten up your feed.
Killer Pitchmaster on LinkedIn.
Oh
Precious
my gosh.
L. Williams, killer Pitchmaster.
Okay, so for those of us that are getting pumped, like, I can do this. My story is important. I got a sizzly headline for the talk. What tips can you give us for approaching companies? Because this is what's making my butt cheeks clench up right now. I've done the corporate sales cycle when I was doing executive coaching. I am nervous to go back out to LinkedIn and pitch, and here's my speaker sheet. And what tips do you have for us that are like, okay, how do we put ourselves out there as speakers? How do we begin booking ourselves?
Okay. And see, this is one of the things that I teach in my Booked and Busy Speakers Bootcamp. Mm-hmm. And I have another one coming up. So here's some things I really want you all to think about. You're thinking about doing the heavy lifting alone. And I'm telling you, no, you don't have to.
Really?
The reason why I love LinkedIn or any of the other platforms is being able to see who's in my network or who's connected to these companies that can make the warm introduction. And let me just say this. You have to tell them how to warmly introduce you. So that's why I'm saying this is not just, warmly introduce me to that person. No, ma'am, you've got to show them how. But also you have to prep your network so they know what your media kit looks like. They know what your press looks like. They know your background, right? So let's say they're warmly introducing you, but it's in person to someone else. They need to be prepped on what to say, just in case that person says, hey, tell me more. And they're sitting there like, I'm telling you, entrepreneurship is real. And there's real work and there's real research. So how did I even get into Microsoft? I can tell you, on my 41st birthday, 3 years to the day, I nearly took my life at 38. I was at Microsoft in their loft, 677 Fifth Avenue. Did you hear what I said? Fifth Avenue. And they did all the marketing, everything. It was standing room only.
Wow.
It's my 41st birthday and I'm teaching on pitching. There were people who came from Mississippi, California, all walks of my life. And then people who had just heard of me got tickets. And here we are in the loft, they're eating the food. And then when I came, it was like that moment of, how did Microsoft even hear about me? So there's a great man who works at Prudential. He invited me to speak at his monthly like mastermind events at Microsoft downstairs. And so the time he invited me, we had to go to another part of Microsoft. And so I'm up there, I'm talking about my book, Bad Bitches and Power Bitches. And then came up who I did not know. And he was telling me, you got to put the book down because with kids coming up, because we were in a different room than we normally were. And so I'm thinking, oh man, I didn't know, messed up. Well, later on, he contacted me. He said, hey, I don't want you to think you did anything wrong. Where you were, we couldn't have bad bitches and stuff on the thing because, teenagers were coming up. He said, but you impressed me so much by how you were able to just change on a dime. You were able to put the PowerPoint down and you just went in. He said, would you ever consider speaking at our monthly series that we do for VIPs and stuff like that or whatever? And I'm like, who am I to turn down Microsoft?
Right.
And then they said it's going to be in our loft. I was like, oh. And then they suggested today, January 22nd. And I nearly cried. I said, that's my 41st birthday. They're like, we'll handle the marketing. We'll handle the ticket sales. We'll handle all of that, right? The only stipulation was I couldn't, show my book because we're still upstairs or whatever. I came that day. I was a member of Master Network, which is a great networking group. And, my bought cheesecake, handmade cheesecake. Like people came to celebrate me, but also to see me do something they hadn't seen me do, right? Because I told you I walked out of homelessness in 2018. That was 2020, right? And so as I'm up there talking, I see the in the back and they're blown away. Mm-hmm. And people ask, how did you do it? I said, when the right people bring you in and you're doing so well, you're impressing people you didn't even know you were impressing. Google, because I'm the pitch master, I was writing for hackathons. Also, I came in with a blue wig and they loved it, right? Because they're by doing things differently, right? So yes. I hosted a pitch competition and then I judged the pitch competition. So it's people like we NYC in New York, women entrepreneurs, NYC. They brought me in. Then I became a mentor. Now I'm a BENYC, which is a Black entrepreneur who's ushering in the next generation of Black entrepreneurs, as well as a mentor for BENYC women entrepreneurs. So you see how all of this works. When you think about Forbes, all these other things I had, is because someone put my name out there and they knew how to pitch me. So see, I'm not telling you things you're like, oh, I've heard that. So how do you prepare for that? How do you prepare for that warm intro? Are you prepping your people in advance? How did I get you into LinkedIn where they keep bringing me back again and again? They're my biggest client. Not because I use LinkedIn, but because I went from 300 followers to now I think I'm over 21,000, and literally that happened in a year. Think about that. That does not happen. I didn't beg nobody, I didn't pay nobody, no bots. I did it. Because what I was putting out there was just different. So watching my articles go out to everyone now, when I used to go out to just a few select people in my network. So all of this works together. You start putting yourself out there. Yes, you're opening yourself up for ridicule, but you're also opening yourself up to people who never would know how talented you really are. And so to go into tech and to go into financial services, now I'm brought in all over the world for my talent, not because I got a Brazilian butt lift, which I don't have, not because of six-pack abs, not because I'm on TikTok, because I'm not because I hang out on Clubhouse, because I don't. Where are my people? On LinkedIn. And that's why it's easy. And people want to book me there. I'm like, do you not have a website? Oh, no, I know your website. But you're always told we always need a website, right? People will book me right there. I'm like, you got to go to my website. And when they do, they're like, oh, I didn't have it. See? So they would tell you a website does everything for you. No, LinkedIn does my heavy lifting. Now it's a done deal. They look at my 200 testimonials from big companies, small companies, medium-sized companies, foundations, nonprofits, and stuff like that. So when I'm telling you, who knows you and knows how to pitch you. You got to prep them. To the other companies you might want to get in front of, foundations, nonprofits. Let's say a nonprofit wants to work with you. I really want you to do this cost benefit analysis, right? So sometimes they don't have the money to pay you. Here's a golden lesson. They might not have the money to pay you. Look at their corporate partners. Yep. If you kill it, what I want you to do before you sign anything, if you do a great job, they've got to give you a testimonial. They've got to introduce you to 3 other corporate partners for a paid speaking engagement. You start the relationship. Most people are not going to tell you that, right? But I'm going to tell you, because that's how I did it. Les Brown can't tell me that. A lot of these people can't tell you that. I'm telling you how I did it because I didn't have a rule book. I created it. I created the rule book as it was going along. I'm not afraid to put out when we pay. And now I have an agent. So when people come to me, I put them off on her because I have a lot going on in my world. I am a communication skills expert. If I've communicated my value to you, you want to book me, then I'm going to send you to her, no matter who you are now. So think about it. Before I had an agent, I had all of the going back and forth about rates. I don't do that. My job is still business development, no matter what. But she handles all the other stuff that gets me booked. So the contracts, that's her job. So
I was going to ask you about that. I've considered getting an agent, but it may be too soon, to take the burden of the sales process off. But then I'm listening to you talk and I'm like, no, I think I need to form these relationships. So I think I need to be in it. But what do you think about agent versus doing it yourself?
Okay. So you know how there are all these speaker bureaus, right? I've never found them to really work. Never. Right. The reason how I got introduced to, my agent, literally because a friend just thought we would be, just talk. And I remember my agent saying, well, I'm not taking new clients. Okay. But I knew I was going to put a bug in her ear. Go look me up. Well, 2 weeks later, she contacted me. She said, yeah, I got you booked for such. I said, I thought you weren't taking new clients. She said, it wasn't. But she said, I noticed that you were going to get booked, busy, and paid without me. And she said, so you're not someone who's waiting on me to do the heavy lifting. Because she works with heavy hitters. She said, you have demonstrated that if I wasn't here, you still going to be popping. So she said, my network and your network are different. So she works with like luxury stuff and whatever, right? And that's great. But, I kept getting contacted to go to Indianapolis, Indiana. Have to have something in your background that's attractive, easy to put. And since I'm in the trenches, I'm booked and busy, people can look up my events. I would just say, if you're already popping, that could be a great idea. But I can tell you with my particular agent, she's like, don't send me people who aren't already, in the trenches. If they are just trying and they're looking for her to do all the work, it doesn't work because the network she works with does not want novices or people who just think they can just show up and do things. There's a whole process to what we do. And the higher up you're in corporations, then you also start dealing with different people. So when I was getting paid, not $2.30, but I was being paid, cool. But when I started hit a certain thing, then you start going into vendor status. And then there were other people you had to all of a sudden deal with. And it takes time to get the contracts together. I didn't know that. Thank God for her because she had to handle that because I didn't know how. Right. So yeah, Queen, I hope that answered your question.
It does. I mean, I think run your ground game, figure out your pitch, like hone in on your talk, get good at this, get testimonials. Like there's no shortcut, right? Precious can help you get there faster by honing your method and hearing like your pitch, but like you got to do the work.
And you do. And I get that it looks like what, you and I look, it looks easy. Oh, you just put a podcast together. I'm telling you, there is real work to be done that you cannot see. And that's why when I speak, I want people to know there was hard work before this happened. There's hard work today. Flying out is taxing. Going on stage can be taxing. What if little things go wrong? My job in teaching speakers is to prepare you for everything that can go wrong so that you still go out and kill it. I don't need a podium. Let me just be clear. I don't need a podium at all. Give me a mic and a light. We good. We're good. I know what I'm doing. I don't need the crutches that others do. And I don't want my clients to feel like you need that too.
That is such swagger. I heard you say earlier, dripping in swagoo, and I'm never going to be the same after hearing that. Dripping in swagoo is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
I took that from Beyonce's song.
Oh my God. Okay. So I think this might be my last question because I could keep you on this line for 2 more hours and I know that you're booked and busy. Yep. So how does one, like, let's say you get booked, you get on stage, you have an opportunity. How do you slay that shit? Like, how do you like make yourself unforgettable and change the people in the room? Like, what are your tips to just slay the talk?
Now you remember when you were in class, I always told you have to start off with a bang and end with fireworks, right? And so a lot of people will start off with who they are. Start off with a question, a startling statistic, or a quote, whether you're doing a pitch or a presentation. What you want to do is interrupt the pattern that people are used to, that you're going to get up. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for bump that. Say that for the end or off the microphone. Your job is to come in and kill it, right?
Yeah.
You want people interested in what you have to say. And let's say you're on stage and you can't sell from the stage. I need you to see throughout the process of you speaking, so that they come up afterwards and want to talk to you, right? Mm-hmm. So I always have my books there because, Queen, people will buy on this. If they can't purchase your services, they will buy a $20 book, a $30 book in a heartbeat, right? Yeah. And they will do that, right? And so what you want to do, if I'm the killer pitch master, I'm demonstrating pitching. If I'm doing the keynote, what from my background will help inform this audience on something they need to start doing in their life, right? So I'm seeing throughout the process why I'm great, why I'm wonderful, why you should think about pitching in a different way or speaking in a different way. What you're doing is setting them up for. They think they're going to hear, you ask them for something, but you can't, right? So when you finish, you just doing your thing. When you walk off stage, see if you can get to a place where people can just crowd around you. Hopefully you'll have a book, or you can tell them, meet me a little later. Because the thing is, you never want to disrespect the host, no matter what. You never want to disrespect, and in case you want to get asked back. Secondly, if a speaker is coming on behind you, don't disrespect that speaker's time by staying too close to where they are. I've learned this. People always say, oh, you just move quickly. I said, I have to, because I'm not disrespecting the next speaker. I want people to listen to that speaker, but also understand that I have such a respect for my crowd that I'll see you later. I'll be at the back. No worries. I'll be at the back. But I need y'all to listen to this particular person. What it engenders a love for that other speaker to you. Now they want to know, I've never seen that done before. They'll do that. And when speakers edify each other, like before I get off stage, I usually edify the other speaker so that they hype for them too. So if I can get a little time with you, great, but I'll be at the back of the room. I'm not going nowhere. Mm-hmm. And so remember, you do not want to start with thank you, I'm so happy to be. Yeah, they already know that. Keep it cute. Move right into your presentation, because what you're doing is grabbing the audiences, and your audience, you're not letting them go. You'll make sales. You have to have the confidence that when you're in the back of the room or when you're in front of them, hey, if you want to get this, meet me over here. Hey, if we run out of time, I'll be at the back of the room. I'll have my books. Come see me afterwards or intermission.
That's a freaking pro move. I wouldn't even think about like, don't stand too close to the stage. Like, make sure you have books, make sure you have a thing to interact around. Like, damn.
I mean, that's what a pro does. That's what a pro
truly
does.
The GOAT. I am on fire right now to go like really seriously launch the speaking business. Mm-hmm. If others are feeling the same, how can they learn from you?
Okay. Well, as our queen said earlier, so I have a booked and busy speakers masterclass, and I'm sure you'll give them the link, but if you go to bookedandbusyspeakers.com /bootcamp, you can take advantage of my newest bootcamp that's happening on May 7th. It's for 3 to 4 hours. Notice I said 3 to 4 because sometimes we go ham and cheese over that 3 hours. Mm-hmm. Because, and listen, it's for a select group. So there's not 50 million people in there. There is no more than 20. No more than 20. Because I want you to ask me questions. I want you to get help from your group. Also, with that, you also get, a great speaker one template, and you also get like a membership into what it is that I'm doing. So you can always go back and look at the recording. You can look at other things that are coming out before everybody else does. And so this is really about really taking your speaking skills to the next level. Even if you think, oh, I've done everything, you haven't. I promise you. She just told me I was a pro mover. She's a pro speaker. Think about that. There are things in my arsenal that I can really use to help you. My 4th book, The Pitch Queen, A Woman's Journey from Poverty to Purpose to Profits. You can get that now on Amazon in pre-sale. If you go to my website, www.perfectpitchesbyprecious.com, you will also see, that I offer one-on-one training and one-on-one trainings, group trainings. You can book me as a speaker for your next event, or at least start the process. You can book a consultation with me. There are other ways that you can find out about me on LinkedIn. I'm Precious L. Williams, Killer Pitch Master. On Facebook, I'm at Perfect Pitch P. On Twitter, I'm at Perfect Pitch P. And on Instagram, IG, I am at Perfect Pitches P. I have a YouTube channel. Yes, you can listen. I go live on LinkedIn usually every Sunday. And so you can always check out Perfect Pitches by Precious page. And finally, I also have a quiz. So if you go to pitchingforprofit.com, you can take my free 6-question quiz that'll show you where you are in your pitching journey and how you can explode. That is free, is free, is free, is free, is free, is free. And finally, I have a triple threat pitch book bundle, the Bad Bitches Empowered Pitches, the Bad Bitches Empowered Pitches workbook, and then Pitching for Profit, the Bad Bitches Playbook to convert conversations into currency. Just go on my website, go to the Work With Me page, and you'll see all of the service. You'll see a majority of the services that I provide, do custom stuff too. So don't hesitate, reach out to me, www.perfectpitchesbyprecious.com. I am the Killer Pitch Master, Precious L. Williams, proud founder and CEO, Perfect Pitches by Precious, where I teach the art and the science of killer elevator, media, investor, speaker, sales, and interview pitch. You've been served. What's up?
Boom, drop the mic. Oh my God, you just landed the plane. That's the thing I don't know how to do in my talks or podcasts for that matter, is land the plane. Like if anybody doesn't go reach out to Precious and get into this treasure trove of resources, you're crazy. Like there's so much to choose from. There's so many options. I'm a client of Precious's. Like we're going to take off. Like we're going to blow this shit up and I cannot wait. So Precious, I'm so grateful for your time. Thank you for your energy, your wisdom, your knowledge, and all of it. And how do I land the plane? See, this is where I need your training.
For having you all today. Keep coming back. It gets better and better on this podcast. You got to grab like balls. And
have it. There you go. I need to learn how to land the plane. I can start with the fireworks. I can't end with the bang. So bye everybody. As always, grab life by the goals and we will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to the Grab Life by the Goals podcast. If you loved this episode, I would be thrilled if you subscribed wherever you listen to your podcast so that you can get notified when an episode drops and we can rendezvous like this every single week. If you're feeling frisky, maybe slap a 5-star review on this bitch and maybe even some comments about what inspired you from this podcast episode. This is simply so more people can find us and join our squad of badassery. I love me some Instagram, so come find me. My handle is @LaurenWidrick, and if you screenshot and share this episode with your peeps, I'll come shower you with all the virtual hugs and kisses. Until next time, grab life by the goals, my friend.